Learning about storytelling by analyzing the films that came before us is our favorite way to improve as storytellers ourselves. Today we will be analyzing an early moment in the hero's journey, when they fail. Heroes usually show a lot of promise in the beginning of their stories, but every good story has the hero fail big early.
You've been busted. You lost your qualifications as section leader 3 times. Put in hack twice by me. With a history of high-speed passes over 5 air-controlled towers and 1 admiral's daughter.
The character needs to be brought down just enough so the audience knows that failure is possible, but not so low that the character quits. The failure also has to be of the character's own making. They have what it takes, but they don't know how to put it together yet.
Your point being?
In academic vernacular, you cheated.
Let me ask you something I think we all know the answer to. The test itself is a cheat, isn't it? I mean, you programmed it to be unwinnable.
Let's start with Meet the Robinsons. Lewis is a very intelligent, imaginative orphan who starts the movie off trying desperately to be adopted. After bombing an adoption interview, Lewis gets a pep talk from Mildred and an idea. He has decided he doesn't need a new family. He needs to find his biological mother.
My real mom is the only person who's ever wanted me.
Wait, I said maybe.
And if she wanted me then, she'll want me now.
What are you talking about?
I have to find her, Mildred. And when I do, she'll take me back. And we'll be a family again.
Lots of planning and inventing leads to the science fair where he debuts his memory scanner. His hope is that the invention will scan his memory and show him his only memory of his mother. He comes to the science fair confident, but his teacher has doubts, and we, the audience, have witnessed the bowler hat guy's sabotage.
Have you ever forgotten something, and no matter how hard you tried, you couldn't remember it? Well, what happens to these forgotten memories? I propose they're stored somewhere in your brain.
Lewis begins the demonstration, promising it will work this time, and just when we think he might pull it off, the invention goes boom, destroying the entire science fair. Lewis chucks his invention and runs away. Wilbur, a kid from the future, shows up and tries to convince Lewis to go back and fix his invention.
You stole a time machine, came to the science fair, and ruined your project!
My project didn't work because I'm no good. There is no bowler hat guy, there is no time machine, and you're not from the future. You're crazy!
Lewis, however, believes he's no good and he has given up. For good this time. But Wilbur leaves him no choice and drags him into the future. When Lewis sees the future and the time machine, it gives him the boost he needs to continue his story. Now let's take a look at Star Trek. In this movie, we are given Kirk's origin story from his chaotic birth to his mischievous childhood, and finally, his idle adulthood. After getting beat up in a bar and meeting a colleague of his late father, Kirk is strongly encouraged to join Starfleet and make something of himself.
Taking the test again.
You gotta be kidding.
Yeah, tomorrow morning, and I want you there.
I've got better things to do than watch you embarrass yourself for a 3rd time.
He joins up and quickly becomes a promising recruit, which brings us to the Kobayashi Maru, an unbeatable test that Kirk has failed twice and is going back for a 3rd. He cheats and beats the test.
So, we've managed to eliminate all enemy ships. No one on board was injured, and the successful rescue of the Kobayashi Maru crew is underway.
Spock reports this, and Kirk is in the midst of being reprimanded when they are called to their ships for an emergency.
We've received a distress call from Vulcan. With our primary fleet engaged in the Laurentian system, I hereby order all cadets to report to Hangar 1 immediately. Dismissed.
Thanks to Kirk's actions, he has been left off the list of cadets, and after trying to argue his way onto a ship, he is shut down and ready to give up.
Kirk, you're on academic suspension. That means you're grounded until the Academy Board rules.
Bones, however, takes pity on him, giving him a shot which makes Kirk show symptoms of illness, allowing Bones to take him aboard the Enterprise.
Medical code states the treatment and transport of a patient is to be determined at the discretion of his attending physician, which is me. So I'm taking Mr. Kirk aboard. Or would you like to explain to Captain Pike why the Enterprise warped into a crisis without one of its senior medical officers?
And now that Kirk has been dragged onto the ship, sweating and half blind, his story can continue, with Kirk right where he needs to be. We, the audience, know that Kirk is not some unfailing wonder boy. He's too cocky. He makes mistakes, and that costs him. But most importantly, he has room to grow. Kirk is on a positive character arc. Room for growth is essential.
As you were.
As you were. Come on.
Finally, let's look at Top Gun. Maverick starts the movie out as a cocky, showboating pilot, and in the first scene, they are on a routine mission when they encounter two enemy pilots. Maverick leaves his wingman, Cougar, out to dry so he can go take out one of the pilots and give him the bird. Cougar gets caught by the other enemy pilot and Maverick has to save him, which he does, but the damage has already been done.
Man, if we get a little problem up here, that MiG really screwed him up. I don't think he can make it back.
You're okay, Cougar.
Cougar loses his nerve because of the experience and turns in his wings. Maverick, and by association, Goose, are in big trouble, getting chewed out by their commanding officer, and not for the first time. For a brief moment, they are unsure of their future. In spite of his mistakes, family history, and general bad behavior, Maverick still gets sent to Top Gun and into the rest of the movie.
I gotta send somebody from this squadron to Miramar. I gotta do something here. I still can't believe it. I gotta give you your dream shot. I'm gonna send you up against the best. You two characters are going to Top Gun.
However, thanks to Iceman questioning Maverick's actions and how dangerous he flies, we understand Maverick makes mistakes that affect people, even if we find him to be likable. The film strikes the balance of having a main character who we want to root for, but is flawed and must grow over the course of the film.
Maverick. I'm curious. Who was covering Cougar while you were showboating with this MiG?
These are 3 examples of how to properly use failure in the first act of a story. This failure allows you to show the growth that your protagonist needs to undergo in order to be the enlightened person they are at the end of the story. And as always, keep watching movies.
What you should have done was land your plane. You don't own that plane, the taxpayers do. Son, your ego is writing checks your body can't cash.